This might be one of the stupidest decisions I've ever made. I've bought a Porsche GT4.
But why did I want a Porsche Cayman GT4? Well, earlier in the year, I set myself the challenge to improve my driving skill.
Oh my god. Whoa. Oh no, that's bad, isn't it?
Which means in turn I need something that's suitable to drive on track without too much power, but also with 3 pedals. And something which I should reliably be able to drive hard without too many issues. And what better way to do that than in a mid-engine Porsche? But mine is a million miles away from being able to do that. We've got a long road ahead of us before we can even think about driving this car on the road, let alone on a racetrack.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's good though, isn't it?
Yeah man, it's great. Hey, this headlight's alright though.
What about this one?
Oh yeah, turn it on then.
It's got the ball.
Oh yeah. How are we going to get this off here then?
It should roll. It's still off the floor, look.
Don't point out, you're saying it should roll. Come up here. Suspension, still attached.
It's push rod.
Wow. I think I made a bit of a bad decision.
You reckon?
Maybe, this is bad.
I didn't click until all the way home and then I looked in my rearview mirror and went, he's blue.
With orange.
And the first of the challenges which we're going to have to face is getting this car off the trailer. Only 3 of the wheels are currently attached, which I'm sure is going to make this interesting.
So romantic. Oh, that's cute. Surprisingly well, I thought this was going to go a lot worse. You know why?
Stuff moving.
Oh, hello.
Now somehow, even though the wheel isn't even on the car, Copart listed this as running and driving.
How can it run and drive though if the airbags are
Well, it's a question I was wondering, mate, I can't lie.
Surely they could...
False advertising. Suppose first thing to do, try and get this thing started. Now, oh, in theory it shouldn't because all the airbags are gone, which means the pyro fuse should have gone, but Copart listed it as running and driving. Now I think they were lying about the driving part. Let's see if they were lying about the running part.
So the pyro fuse normally blows when the car is in an accident to help protect the engine from running while it's leaking oil.
We need to check the oil in it really, don't we?
That's alright.
I don't know if it is.
Let's go.
Peer pressure.
Foot on the clutch. Not like you just got another loop.
What a motor!
That's it, finished.
That sounds alright, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That sounds good.
And I'm not sure why in this scenario the pyro fuse hasn't blown, but I suppose everything sounds okay, which is a massive weight off my shoulders. And although the damage on the front end is really bad, it really only seems to have took out 1 of the 3 radiators on the front. Which, although that is good news, it's really going to be a drop in the ocean compared to the rest of this project because there is so much work to do.
So, got it inside. Let me tell you everything that I know, that I think we need to know about a GT4. Engine, not in the front, thankfully. Also, not in the back, because these are mid-engined, making this one of the most balanced Porsches, apparently. The engine is a 3.8 litre, making 380 brake horsepower, revving up to 6.5k, and I promise I've not just looked at the spec list. Interior-wise, we've got a manual gearbox, which feels brilliant. We've got carbon bucket seats, which I'm sure are worth a lot of money, and I've got a nice dent in that one, which looks like it needs fixing. Loads of carbon fibre everywhere, as you'd expect on like your top spec Porsche, and some airbags gone.
You've got 2 cup holders.
Have I?
Yeah, you got 2.
Winning. Colour. It's blue. Again, not by choice, they're just attracted to me. But this is a optional colour, and I'm guessing by the number plate, which came on the car, that this is Riviera Blue, which I think is rare-ish. We'll go with that. It's had some add-ons as well, because we've got a nice vinyl stripe in orange and a logo which you may or may not recognise. Rear-wheel drive, and also the thing that I know about these is that the GT4s share a lot of suspension components with the newer 718 Cayman, so hopefully I might be able to save some money there. Brains. Big wing, says Porsche on it.
20s.
We've got some 20-inch wheels with steel brakes on this car. Now there is an option on the GT4 to have ceramics, but secretly, deep down, I'm glad this car hasn't got it because they're super fragile and definitely wouldn't have survived this crash. And if you do want to replace those, they're big moolah, and luckily they're not on this car and they won't be going on this car either. So that saved me a bit of money from the start off. Now the suspension isn't supposed to look like this, but we can see it's on coilovers. Now, I don't actually know if that's a factory thing or not, so maybe someone in the comments can tell me if that is factory suspension or if it's aftermarket. And apart from that, it's a Porsche GT4, you know what I mean? It doesn't get much better. Well, it can do when I fix it, to be fair. Damage-wise, on the back, we're not too bad. Not too bad at all, I think. I don't think it actually had anything back here. I feel like this may have happened from the forklifts and stuff at the salvage yard. The exhaust is looking a bit, it's had a bad day. So we need to look into why that's drooping like that and why the diffuser's coming off the car. But apart from that, back end, mint. But all of the damage comes in when we get to the front because we can see here, it's started to get a bit cattywampus. Headlights good, which is good. Bonnet, not so good. But this is where it gets bad. Now we can see that this tub is not looking good, Brev, because it definitely shouldn't be shaped like this, shouldn't be shaped like this, definitely not like this, and definitely not like that either. The suspension is literally the only thing holding that wheel onto the car. All the arms have snapped, the brake line's snapped, all the wiring snapped. It's had a real bad day. It's not looking pretty. So this is by far the biggest task I think we've took on this channel. And this car is going to be in pieces for a long time and going to be a lot of work to get this back on the road. But I think at the end, it's going to be worth it. Now, I know I say this all the time, but this is a huge risk buying this car. It's a mammoth job, and it's my job to take them gambles to make entertaining videos for you guys to watch. So if you want to support what I'm doing here and really help me out, it would be massively appreciated if you go hit that subscribe button. And if you want to help me out even further, we have the finest merchandise. We currently have hoodies and t-shirts from the X3M, the Never Drive Something Boring merch, and also the AMG GT Blue Series merch as well. And if you want to grab that, it's going to be the second link in the description. Cheers! Now we actually know the story of how this happened because this belongs to someone, or belonged to someone, which we're aware of in the kind of UK car space, but we'll come back to that a little bit later. For now, I really just want to get to work on this because it's looking bad as it is, and normally with these sorts of cars, it gets worse the more you pull off. I don't see how it can get worse, but I want to start pulling some stuff off before we carry on talking about the story of it. So, where do we start? Bonnet, let's start with the bonnet, let's get it off. I've had a bad day. The second bolt I take off the car, it's just gone into the abyss as well. Right, are we ready? Why do it like that? That is awkward, isn't it? It's normally just on a plug, and yeah, that makes it a little bit trickier, but that is now unplugged. I should just be able to take these little e-Torx bits off here. Do you want to show them, Regan? If I wind them out, should pop off the hinges and the check strap. Can't forget the check strap. I've just had a realisation as well, because this is actually the first mid-engine car, proper mid-engine car that I've ever done on the channel. Is that a level up or what? High five everyone at home. Yes! Get one. Look at us. Working hard, working fast. Putting that back in there so I don't lose it. But it didn't take long. We've already found some damage which is worse than what we thought. Now I'm not stupid. I've looked at cars like this before and I've tried to price this in my head for the worst case scenario, but it's tight. It's tight to a budget. We've got to save as much as possible to make this car pay off. I realise financially it might not be the smartest decision anyway, but it's fun, it's good for the channel, but this is not fun. Because ripped. Rip. They still feel solid though. There's like no movement in it. Same in that one. So I'm surprised by that really, but these things happen. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We've still got some more stuff to pull off. So we've got these trims here which you need to remove, which should reveal all of the wing bolts. and we can get out the way and then find out what else it's hiding, because it's definitely going to be something. It's not in the workshop manual to do it like that, but that's how we did it. Now, it may well be a long time before this all goes back together. It's a big job, and my memory's not great, so I'm going to try and make this as easy as possible for me when I put it back together and label what the plugs are which I've unplugged, especially because of when all of this gets removed to sort out the damage, I've got to make sure it goes back in the right place too. So I'm going to double wham it and label each plug. Well, we know there's going to be a lot of faults with this car, and to be honest with you, at this point it's pointless plugging it in because everything has got to come off the front end of this before we can even think about trying to fix the faults. When we do come around to doing it, there's a nice easy way we can, and that is using OBD11. Let's take a look at it on my BMW M3. It's a pocket-sized device and it couldn't be much easier to use. All we've got to do is pop it into the car's OBD2 ports, then we can fire up the app, and with this we can do all sorts of things like dealership level diagnostics to check the car for fault codes, and at the moment mine has 17 stored, but for now we'll just clear them. And now we're down to 0, which is much better, but there's so much more we can do with OBD11 because it has a bunch of one-touch applications which we can turn on for BMWs, Minis, Toyotas, all VAG group cars. So there's loads of applications which if you've watched my channel before you've seen, but there's also things that we can do to help test to see how well your car's working. Say for example we can test the instrument cluster. So if you come around here, this is going to test all the lights on the dashboard to see if they work. Way! Everything's working, look at that. And all sorts of other maintenance stuff like brake pad resets, service resets. But there's all sorts of stuff you can do like video in motion, so you can watch videos while you're driving. You can do comfort access, so you can open the windows with your key, all sorts of stuff. Make sure to go and grab yourself an OBD11 device using the link in the description and discount code SLIX20, which is going to save you 20% off all of their products apart from the device on its own. And also it can do basic diagnostics for any car fitted with an OBD2 port. So thank you OBD11 for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to the Porsche. That actually looks alright. So now we've got all that out, we can see really what's going on here and actually how bad it is. And it's pretty bad because this is like the front tub section. This is the boot, as you can see. This is bent. This side all looks okay. This is the chassis leg here. That's all okay. But you can see this should come straight across, which it no longer does. It's now way back here, which is, I know it's pretty obvious, but it's pushed all this back, pushed the shock tower back. So we've not only got a chassis leg which is bent in and damaged there, we're questioning whether it's damaged here. Well, all the mounting points are actually ripped off the tub as well, so we can't mount the suspension to anything. All the arms, so the track rod, anti-roll bar, all not looking so good. Oh, there we go. And all these, everything snapped. Everything. So it must have been a pretty heavy crash. Now I actually know, because this car is pretty well known, we know of the owner already. We know how the crash happened. And it is quite interesting. A lot of it comes down to the tyres. Now you can see that these tyres have actually been hot at one point. The car was on a track day. Not when it crashed, but it had been on a track day, and these tyres have obviously got pretty hot, and they're not going to work as well in the wet, I don't think, when they're like this. They need kind of driving on again to smooth them off. And yeah, they're not. So the car was driven in the wet on a prom run, hit standing water, and then the rest on Cup 2s is history. You're pretty much holding on for dear life if you're driving on those in the wet, and whatever he's hit, it's done a damn good job of damaging it, and it's made a lot of work for us. So it's going to be a big repair trying to get this right. And the back end, actually, I know this wasn't damaged in the crash for a fact. So this happened after it's been crashed. So somewhere, this has been damaged, ripping up the diffuser, and the exhaust is now looking kind of race car. But I think I can fix that pretty quick, because it is just on clamps. So I'm hoping I can just Well, it's better. It's better than it was, but I feel like this gives me the perfect excuse to try and upgrade this for something better. But if you could let me know what exhausts are good for these, so it sounds like whap, whap, then that'd be great. Now, we have a little problem at the moment because I've not got the locking wheel nut for this car. I've looked everywhere for it and it's just not in here. So I've spoken to Porsche and they can't tell me which locking wheel nut it's going to have just off the VIN, but luckily I've got a very kind friend who works there who's going to pop round after work today and we're going to sort that problem out. But for now, we're going to make our life as easy as possible and get this door off as well so we can strip down the entire front end. I used to hate the idea of taking a door off. It used to seem super long, but it's actually so much easier just to take them off than it is to try and fight your way around them. Now luckily the hinges on this side are undamaged and it kind of shows us how they should look. So they're not actually done very pretty, but these are obviously not hurt in the accident. So at least we've got a reference point on this side to how they should look on that side, and hopefully someone who knows what they can do and can help me repair them.
But for now, the next job to do is taking off the side skirts.
Could be worse. That's repairable, I reckon. No sweat. Nice. That wasn't too bad, that.
And also out with the steering wheel airbag to give us a bit more room and a bit more access inside.
Need to get a new airbag ordered for the steering wheel. The dashboard though, I think I may have a solution for because there's some which you can repair and this may well be one, but we're gonna have to find out at a later date.
But realistically, we're waiting all day for our friend from Porsche to come round with this locking wheel nut so we can push forward with the project.
Hey! How you doing, lad? Have you got the goods? Is this the only one you brought? Okay. He's good. He's good.
So eager, man.
Right here. That's how you know it's a good car, because the wheels don't seize to the hubs. Oh, do they?
Porsche get in trouble for this.
Yes, this is true.
This is just good customer service. That is the best bit of design I've ever seen.
I'll give it a pull.
That was the best bit of design I've ever seen.
Yeah, let me have a look.
Hats off to Porsche.
Got that for me, please. There you go.
That's the best headlight design. That's the only good bit of the car, man. Oh, that's such good design. Rate that. Thanks.
But now we have a bunch more stuff to get out the way so we can remove this driver's side wing. But I'm doing my best through taking all these bolts off to try and keep them all organised to make putting the car back together a bit easier.
Label maker.
We've got no control over what it does at the sides of it. So some of them have got computers, some of them have got bunny rabbits, and some of them have got love arts. It is what it is. Apparently Mr. Porsche Master Tech reckons this is really easy, but there's something that everyone misses, and we're going to see if I miss it. There we go. half a bumper. I guarantee that's going to save me a lot of money.
Save them, no way.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh yeah.
I've had a look at how much the bumper is.
Go on.
£2 grand.
And this is what's worrying me. The GT cars apparently have even more expensive parts than the standard Porsche cars, which I thought would be much of a muchness, but apparently this isn't the case. So anything suspension-wise, brakes-wise, you know, bumper-wise or body panel-wise that's GT specific is going to cost me a fortune. So I'm going to have to do a lot of research to try and figure out how I can save some money on these parts. So now with all the other bits removed that were in the way of us being able to remove this wing, which is relatively undamaged, we can now take out the final plugs and sensors and wires which are in the way and get it off. But the scary thing at this point is that we're only scratching the surface. There is going to be a mountain of more work to do, of jobs which I've never done before on a style of car which I've never done before on this build, which is really going to push me to my limit.
Wings off, headlights out, bumpers off, we can see everything. I think on this side we've done okay. Rad's intact, centre rad's intact, and it's just crash bar and then that mess. Now in regards to that mess, it may be a whole bigger job than just sorting out that corner, because Porsche do actually sell a part which is basically the full front end of the car, the full structural piece. It comes as one. Do you want to guess the price? Go on, you have a go.
Just all of this, all of this.
Everything metal. Here, all it, like this, all this stuff, all the strut towers up here, everything back here. So it's basically all the structural stuff from here forwards.
5,000–6,000?
12 grand. That would definitely be the right way to do it, I think. But I definitely need to make sure I can save up some money. So we're gonna have to wait, I think. So if you've enjoyed this video and you're excited to see how this car goes, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. And I'll catch you next time.